You're listening to a Soul One podcast.
All right. So I have to ask you about your movie that I just found out you were reviewing that I just quickly looked up. Because I actually thought, Taylor, it was something else. And now I'm very confused as to what it is.
That checks out.
There's a comedy movie called The Wrong Something, and it's like, I think a woman's name or something, and it's sort of like I think it's an Adam Sandler produced comedy about a guy inviting the wrong person on like a trip or whatever, and it's like a comedy.
Oh.
This, I believe, is also a rom-com, but they go to the wrong Paris from my 2 seconds of research.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll give you a very quick rundown before I get into my review. So this is a Netflix original movie that came to Netflix on September 12th. And it's a romantic comedy, and the basic premise is that Miranda Cosgrove, do you remember her from when we were growing up, Mike? She was on, I didn't watch Drake and Josh, but that's what she's like famous for. And she also, I think she was she did voice acting and stuff. But anyways, so this is like the first time I've seen her as an adult. She's the main romantic lead. And then so she needs to get to Paris for art school. And so her sister recommends that she applies for a dating show because the dating show that season is going to be set in Paris. So she applies, she gets on, and then plot twist. They did it on purpose, like the production team. It's not Paris, France. It's Paris, Texas.
Okay.
And so
now you are I would describe your movie interest and taste to be more widespread than people on the show give you credit for. Yeah, I would say so. I think you like a whole wide range of movies. Mm-hmm. This one does seem still a little out of left field at least for me. I just think obviously we're in an approaching spooky season. What inspired you to switch it up for this particular direct to Netflix, I assume, rom-com?
Right. Well, okay, so I don't know if we want to pull the curtain too far, show people too much how the sausage is made. I'm using mixed metaphors here, but we're trying out a new thing where we record episodes sometimes back to back, sometimes not. Some episodes are going to be shelved for different times. And so I knew in October we're going to record a bunch of spooky movies, like back to back, like all October we're going to be reviewing spooky movies. And I thought, well, as a palate cleanser, or just to kind of anticipate the spookiness, I thought that I would record an episode about a non-spooky movie. And then if this ends up being shelved for a little while, Mike, it's not season specific. You can slot it in wherever. So that was kind of my thinking, was that I am fully prepared for the next 4 to 5/6 weeks. Or definitely
wherever we go.
Yeah, wherever we stop, and then in Christmas we're gonna have some more ghost episodes with Father James again. So really it's gonna be the rest of 2025. It's just gonna be scary movies. So I thought this is my last opportunity to review a movie that's not spooky for the time being. So that's the long answer, Mike. That's why I chose this one. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's that out of left field, because I like the last couple of years I've been reviewing cheesy Netflix Christmas romance movies.
Oh yeah.
And this movie falls into that vein, except it's just not set in Christmas. It's kind of the same cheesy direct to DVD or direct to the Hallmark Channel romance. So it's not, I wouldn't say it's 100% my wheelhouse, but I don't think it's as left field as you think it is. Although it may be out of left field for our listeners who aren't
Well,
used to my varied tastes.
I asked you this as a precursor to our fan questions because, as I told
Mm.
you over a text, our fans have figured out how to still write in fan questions, even though we haven't really talked about that.
Haven't
And
been checking it.
checking it all through the back episode. And we do, and we have some fan questions and comments. And one of the fans has a pretty big question about your movie tastes. So I thought that that would be a nice precursor.
Segue.
Well, yeah, because the fan seems to think you have a more limited repertoire than I think,
Ooh.
having done this show for long enough to know that you like quite a few different things.
Yeah.
This fan in particular, you've confused her with your movie interests, so we'll definitely be addressing that. But yeah, I was curious because I feel like that'll come up.
She's gonna be even more confused.
But I think you're right. I think you definitely do this for Christmas movies. There's always several cheesy Christmas movies in a row.
Yeah,
Like I
at least
think
one. Like at
Lindsay
least one.
Lohan's, like at least
Mm-hmm.
you've been usually within there. So sometimes our listeners, I don't know if they listen to us. I don't know.
Yeah, or maybe they're like, oh, Christmas Romance, and they skip that episode, not realizing that I was the one who reviewed it. I don't know.
Well,
Selective listening.
I can't wait to hear about this charming rom-com. I'm sure it's delightful. But before we do that, we have fan questions. So
Yay!
we've got to do that. So yeah, I'll just quickly throw out there. Yeah, there is a way to still send us fan questions, and it's through Soul One's website. So if you go to soul1arts.ca, that's SOLONEARTS.ca, and go to the podcast tab, you actually can submit questions right there. So we had people do that. There is a
Our listeners
form.
are Mike. They're so smart, much smarter
They're
than we are.
Yeah, they're really smart because I didn't know this form was there. And I
And it's
edit
your
this
website.
website. Yeah. So I was very confused. Like, how are we getting fan questions? Oh,
Love it.
okay. There you go. So we've got some. So let's dive into that, and then we'll get to our reviews. So as I mentioned, this is a great little precursor, because this question comes from Caitlin, who says, all caps, exclamation mark, Taylor, what are your movie tastes? I just can't figure you out. I think you're really into horror, but it seems like sometimes you do other things. And when talking about the classic movies, you've always been somebody who sometimes sees movies and sometimes doesn't. Oh, by the way, I'm glad you guys are back. I really loved hearing your summer recap. I'm looking forward to all the great episodes coming up.
I love that. Okay.
When was the last time we talked classic movies?
Well, we
I
haven't.
know we've got one coming up. We've got an episode
Yeah.
coming up, which I know, but it'll be in the past by the time people hear
Mhm.
this. But I'm trying to think of the last one we would have done. I'm trying to just track listeners. You know what I mean? Like how long have you been listening? What have you listened to recently? What gives Caitlin this sort of off the kilter, who is Taylor perspective? I'm trying to
I
figure
know
that out.
what movie. I wish she had put in the question what movie like really threw her, like
Yeah.
that I recently reviewed. Um, our episode back is what prompted her to write in, and I saw like a lot of different. I don't want to say a lot, but I don't think there was a common theme with my summer recap. So maybe that was part of
No.
why she was
No,
so
I actually think that's a good
early.
example of all the different films you watch, right? Like your
Yes,
summer recap had 4 or 5 kind of different movies in it.
there was comedy, murder mystery, comedy. Oh, actually, a lot of comedies now that I think about it. A religious
Mm-hmm.
documentary. Anyways, what are my tastes? Okay, so I would say that I do have a varied movie taste in a healthy way. I do really love horror movies. I don't love slasher movies, Mike. We talk about this a lot when we end up going on a deep dive with horror movie. I can sit through a slasher, and I'm actually going to review a slasher either before or after this one, depending on how this airs. But I will be in our bulk
Who knows?
Halloween, yeah, our bulk Halloween window. There will be a slasher flick that I review, but it's not my favorite genre. I prefer sort of supernatural thrillers or supernatural horror movies, ghosts, the occult, demonic possession, that kind of horror movie, I really like.
Mhm.
I love comedy, and I have the comedic sensibilities of like a 15-year-old boy. So old Adam Sandler,
Mhm.
I would say kind of like golden age of who did Super Bad. Not like Seth Rogen, but like Judd Apatow.
Yeah, Judd Apatow. Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
sort of the his golden age, like when we were in high school, Mike, all of the movies he produced, I find really funny. I really like oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his name now, but Step Brothers or Talladega Nights. Those kind of
Oh, Adam McKay did all
yeah,
those.
I like those.
Yeah.
And like um and in terms of like TV shows that are also I like that I jive with comedic sensibilities, like we watched the first season of oh my gosh, it's the end of the day, so I'm blanking on my word. The Righteous Gemstones. So we
Mm.
only watched the first season of that, but that kind of like zany, weird, you're kind of doing, it's kind of spoofy, a little bit of satire, a stupid comedy, all of absurd comedy. I love all that kind of stuff. And then I guess those are like my two major genres, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
And then like if you were thinking about like my favorite movies of all time, I always talk about The Crow, which I guess is kind of considered horror. I love Heathers, which is like a dark comedy, and Secret Garden, which is like a period drama. So like I don't know, that kind of that rounds it out. Like I wouldn't say I'm a movie snob. Like I think I'm well-rounded. I just don't like superheroes and I don't like space.
Yeah, and even then, I would say
I'll give it a
everything
try.
else. You'll give a lot of things a try. Everything else is kind of on the table.
Yeah, and I think yeah, sort of if dark comedy is another one of my big genres that I like. But I think again the Heathers kind of captures that aspect. I like musicals, and I do like classic movies. But you know, there's so many movies, Mike, that I can't see them all. So
Well,
that's why
yeah,
sometimes there's classic movies that maybe we're talking about, Mike, that I haven't picked up.
just
And
haven't
I'd
heard of
also be interested to know what she considers classic, depending on
them.
her age range.
Yeah, I was trying to go back and take a quick look at what we had done just before going off air, like what our episodes
Right.
were, to see if there was something that I could pinpoint of, oh, you had some sort of like famous movie you didn't know, because that's kind of the way the question is worded. Is it kind of makes me think like, oh, maybe there was something we talked about that you didn't,
Right. I
but
don't
I can't see
really
anything. Yeah.
I don't love because again it would be interesting to know what her definition of classic movie is, because when you refer to like what big movie hadn't I seen, those kind of like classic blockbuster popcorn movies I probably haven't seen a lot of. That's not really my genre, if that
Um,
makes sense.
I think it does make sense. Just like again, a little behind the scenes thing here. My cat just did something real weird. I don't know what happened. She came into this room and like kind of went nuts for a second, left, hopped around a bit, and I now don't know where she is. Like
I think
hopped,
your
like
house
kind
is
of
haunted.
like rabbit hop.
Your house is
Just,
haunted.
what?
Hey, did you ever, speaking of this little
Hmm.
aside, I think you talked about it on the podcast. Didn't you go to a pet psychic or like a pet reader?
Oh yeah,
And
well yeah,
she
like a basically a
pet
therapist for the
therapist?
cat. Yeah, one session. I'm not made of money. Yeah.
Right. And did anything ever come of that? Like, did you implement the things that they suggested?
They said there's nothing they could do.
Right.
It was the most pointless waste of
money.
time, waste of money. It was just like
You would have been better off with a pet psychic.
She literally at one point in time looked at me and said, "What do we do now?" And I said, "I don't know.
I'm paying you.
I'm paying you to look at this cat. It's because the cat she wouldn't come out from under the bed, and I couldn't get her
Very
out.
shy.
Yeah, very. And now I don't know. I don't know what's going on with her right now. But now she's out of eyesight, so I don't know.
Good luck.
Who knows? Speaking though of haunted things, Taylor, I don't think I've had a chance to tell you this specific story, mainly because it's obviously not what happened. But part of my kind of time off, I went on a little vacation to a secluded cabin that apparently had some kind of poltergeist sort of ghost activity that every night, kind of between like 10:30 and midnight, something in the kitchen would like fall or make a noise that was sort of impossible.
Ooh.
I kind of debunked everything but one noise. So I think it.
You want to believe?
No, well, no. No. I mean, I guess to be clear, I want to believe in the sense that like if I saw evidence, I believe. But I think it's so
I'm the Mulder
not.
to your Scully. Is that right?
Yeah. Scully was the skeptic, right?
Yeah, and I want to believe. I'm Mulder.
That's right. Yeah. So yeah, that's that was kind of. I had my own haunted experience. Not too bad. Not super scary.
Came out alive. Wasn't possessed that we know of.
No possession that we know of. Who knows? My cat might be possessed right now. I don't. He just came into sight again for like a second and is now gone again. I have no idea. We'll find out. But it is her time of year. You know, being a black cat now. All this is like her time.
She's thriving.
We do have another quick fan comment here, which comes from Tyler Vance, who writes in and says, in regards to your comments on my character last episode, this will be a couple of weeks back by the time people hear this, you are not nearly as wrong as I would like you to be. Great to have you back. Signed, Tyler Lonely Boy Vance.
Lonely Boy Vance. All right, excellent.
I mean,
I think we sued for slander.
I think he probably wants everyone to love the things he loves as much as he does, and that hurts him. I'm the exact opposite. Like, I'm literally the exact opposite. I could care less if anyone liked the things I liked. I could care less.
I think I have a healthy dose of wanting people to like the things that I like, but I also know that the things that I like are pretty niche, and so I'm not surprised if they don't like it.
Yeah.
Like, how many people watched the Hannibal TV show? I'm not surprised that like 2 people in the whole world watched it.
Yeah.
And that everyone else is not interested.
Yeah, no, it's totally fair. There you go. There are some fan questions for this week. Thank you to those who wrote in. Yes, you can find us, soul1arts.ca. Go to the podcast tab, fill out the form. You can submit those fan questions that way for now. As Taylor mentioned, we are kind of recording things a little out of order. So if you don't hear your questions read instantly, like the week after, that's mainly why. We will check that for now. We will be a little all over the place with our recording, but please do send them in. We will definitely get you on air eventually.
And
all right.
Quick question. We are eventually going to have the website back up.
Eventually. I mean, one thing I got to say is if this form works so well,
why do we need a website?
Why do we need a website? I mean, maybe we I think to make things easier, we should definitely have a you had me at skipit.com URL. That'd be awesome. But we could just point it at this form. People can just fill out the form. I'm surprised 2 people found it. So there you go. I mean, our listeners, as you said, are smart. Maybe that's all we need. Maybe we just need that and an email address, Taylor. I don't know.
That sounds about right. It's not like we're selling merch.
No, we could.
Yet.
Yeah.
In another 7 years.
Yeah. I could see our 15th year anniversary being now we have merch.
2 t-shirts.
What would be on our shirts? what catchphrase?
You know, I was laying in bed the other night thinking about, obviously our logo is beautiful and we don't need to reboot it, but I was thinking like if we were to reboot our logo, it could be like old-timey popcorn and pop.
Yeah.
And like a little heart.
Definitely.
And they're holding hands, and then like the heart turns into you had me at skip it. Cause it's like romance. They found each other because they both hate the same things.
Yeah.
Retro popcorn and pop. Doesn't that sounds good, eh? That would look good on a t-shirt.
It would. That I mean, I don't even think you have to reboot the logo. You can just make that on a T-shirt.
Yeah,
Throw
I'd
our
wear it.
logo on the patch, like on the side. Throw that
On
on
the
the like
pocket,
on the
you do a
pocket, or
pocket.
yeah, yeah, that's perfect.
Or
Now,
you know what's really popular right now? You have like you had it at Skip It on the pocket, and then the back, really big, the whole back of the t-shirt is the pop and the popcorn holding
yeah, oh
hands.
yeah, definitely, yeah, that would be great. And I think we would have to have a couple T-shirts with famous quotes from our show.
Yeah.
I don't know what that would be. Maybe we could have people vote on that. Um, I can't think of one, like, but I'm sure they're out there. I'm sure there are some quotes.
Whatever's on the bingo card. If Tyler can drag out that old bingo card, that would be the only thing that's on the website. Our two bingo cards and then a link to the form on the other website.
And now that I think about it, Taylor, the reasons why we had a website before, the Oscars pool, book and movie club.
Yeah, so we do need one.
I think we need a website. I think
we did a complete 180.
Yeah.
We're listening. We're like, actually, yeah, we'll
it's
get
so
around
funny
to that.
for like you and I could just have this conversation offline, but we decide, hey, why don't we press record? And there's an episode of the show.
Yeah.
Like we've spent most of half this episode talking about whether or not we need a website. So,
well, write in. Tell us if you think we need a website.
Let's review some movies.
Yes.
Let's do it. So we've got The Wrong Paris, and then because I can't read documents properly, I'm reviewing The Woman in the Yard for some Halloween movie spectacular time. Which I'm all out horror movies, Taylor, from now until November 1st. I've decided. I used to do this all the time before I had the life. I would just sit at home every night in October, really honestly from Labor Day onward, and just watch a different horror movie every night.
I thought you had already. I did see Women in the. I saw on I think it was Amazon, Woman in the Yard, and I thought, oh, I could review that, but Mike's already reviewed it. In my mind, I thought you had already reviewed this movie.
I
but
double
clearly...
checked. This isn't going to be a Superman moment. I double checked. I've never seen this movie. I've never reviewed it.
That was the other thing was when you asked me why did I review this movie and not a scary movie. When I was looking, there wasn't anything that really caught my attention, so I'm like, might as well watch like a breezy movie before we head into spooky season. But
yeah, like a lot of the ones that will be direct streaming will drop now, essentially. Like it'll be throughout October.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've kind of got the ones they like to put them in the theater August, September, and then stream them closer to Halloween. That seems to be the pattern. And we haven't forgot about Conjuring Last Rites. That's on our schedule. We can tell people that will be one of our October episodes. Like we will be reviewing that.
Worst case, I won't review it, but Mike will. My problem is that I can only see it on a matinee, and the only matinee that I have available is like mid-October. But Mike, I'm hoping this goes back to the question of how long things stay in theaters and stuff. I'm hoping it will have a longer theatrical run only so that they can try to milk those Halloween audiences.
Yeah.
It premiered like a couple weeks ago, like beginning of September.
Yeah, I saw it when it opened. Like I saw it that week.
So you've already seen it.
Yeah. I 100% wanted to go see it to get it in the can. So I'm ready to review it.
It's over 2 hours long, so all the more reason that I need to do it on a day off when George is at daycare, preschool, I should say. And Dan has zero interest in seeing this with me. So again, I have to go like 1:00 on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I don't know, what is the initial buzz?
I have not seen a single review about it. Oh. And I don't know if that means it's performing horrifically at the box office, but I have not seen a single review. I don't know what people think about this movie. I don't know anything other than I went to see it opening week because I just wasn't sure how busy I'd get. I want to try to see movies as early as I can so I don't get caught not being able to see a movie.
Yeah, no, that
makes
sense.
No idea what the box office was like. I don't know anything.
Well, fingers crossed. I have it in my schedule to see it October 14th. So I'm hoping that's early enough in October that it will still be in theaters, even if it's not performing very well. Because my thinking is that the studio will want to keep it to like maybe get that Halloween push. That's what I'm
Yeah,
hoping. We'll
yeah, you
see.
got to try. You got to try to get it out there for Halloween. So that's what we will be doing. But for today, I'm reviewing The Woman in the Yard, and Taylor, you're reviewing The Wrong Paris.
I don't think
Um,
these movies could be any different, any more different.
um, I mean, well,
This is a fun episode to see if we can find links and connections.
they both feature
Women.
women and locations.
Where does your
um,
movie take place?
on a farm.
And this is on a
Uh,
ranch.
a ranch, okay, that which
There
is
you
kind
go.
of like a farm.
Yeah.
So yeah, they both take place on ranches. It's a pretty like I guess I can go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
The Woman in the Yard is one of those. We've got to make it very clear that we're isolating this particular group of people, this family. So it takes place on a farm, and it's actually kind of interesting for one reason or another, and it's realistic. They wake up and they're without power. Um, the particular, so this is a mother and two children. I think the son is a teenager, but a relatively young teenager. Like he looks a little bit older, but I think he's supposed to be a young teenager because it's one of those things where it's like doesn't have a cell phone yet,
Oh,
but really
13
wants
maybe?
one. Yeah, like maybe 13 would make sense because like not really that you would leave the child necessarily alone, but wants a cell phone, realistic that doesn't have
Preteen,
one.
12 or
Yeah.
13.
12 or 13, and then a daughter that's clearly like 4 or 5. Like she's very, very, very young.
Okay.
And so it's a mother and these two kids, and for various things that you do learn about, this isn't a spoiler right at the beginning. It is just the three of them. She is left with these two kids to raise on her own, and she is going through a very, very difficult time. She's having a hard time in her life. She's clearly suffering from depression. You see right away when they wake up, like they're without power because she didn't pay for the bills. She is obsessed about certain things on her cell phone, so the cell phone and battery is dead, which is their only kind of real means for communications. As this is like a modern day film, no one really has a landline anymore. And so you see the son, you see in the early bits of the film, the son is kind of doing these day-to-day things to take care of the daughter, making sure she has breakfast, having to figure out, how to feed the dog when they're at a dog food and to get breakfast for everybody, and has to kind of be older because he's taking care of things because his mom is clearly useless at this point for a lot of various reasons.
I shouldn't laugh, but the way
Well,
useless.
she is
I'm
not a
assuming
very
she's
likable
not, I
person
was
at the
gonna say
beginning of
she's
this
not very
movie. I
likable.
gotta
Okay.
say, at the beginning of this movie, I'm like, I don't like you. You are not
Got
a
it.
likable human being. Within the first 20 minutes, the woman in the yard appears. So this movie does not at all take you through a long setup.
Not
It gets to the thing.
slow build.
No, it gets to the thing pretty fast. It's one of those movies that has a great moment where it all begins with someone saying, "Mom, there's a woman in the yard." Like very like kind of like casually, nonchalantly. It reminded me of a couple things, like in Signs when
Like
the
an M.
little girl
Night
comes in.
Shyamalan
Yeah,
movie.
when the little girl comes in and says, "There's a monster outside my room and can I have a glass of water?" And Us, the Jordan Peele movie, when when one of them just says, "There's a family in the yard." So it's just kind of one of those like really classic beginnings. A creepy woman shows up sitting on a chair in their yard. And for one reason or another, the family is sort of torn on whether or not to leave and what to do and how to deal with this. And then the kind of horror thriller begins. This is one of those horror movies that has a couple effective, scary moments, but for the most part, I would still describe as a thriller that is interesting enough to keep your attention. But if you're looking for like a movie to like just scare you, I don't think this is going to do it. Even for someone who doesn't, if someone does not like horror movies, I think you'll find that this is a relatively comfortable movie. Like there's not a lot of crazy jump scares. There's one or two moments that are a little creepy. It's sort of pretty mundane when it comes
Is
to
it
the
kind of more
scary.
like a mystery? Like, why is this lady here and what does she want?
I think it. I will describe it more as a psychological thriller. The
Okay,
mystery of why she's there is a little less focused on than the impact her presence has on this family.
got it.
And specifically, you as an audience member questioning the whole time, wait, is this person actually here? What is happening? Like
Mm,
who is controlling what? Who are we seeing this movie through? How is this going? Like there's a lot of interesting questions like that that I think the movie is at its best and pretty good at doing for those things. Like this is one of those movies that I kind of left thinking, oh, like that was like entertaining. That was really interesting. Wasn't really a horror movie, even though it was scary and had those kind of like horror elements, but I wasn't feeling this unease that I want out of my horror movies in this. I more felt intrigued and interested,
sure.
perked up and kind of focused on it. So that was effective. I thought the movie did a good job there of that. And again, I think like the characterization and the dialogue is interesting. They don't spend a lot of time waiting to kind of build up to the thing. Like we know the title of the movie, right? It's like when you have a title in a movie, you know you're trying to get to this thing. Like don't spend an hour getting there.
It
Like let's
follows.
get to it. Yeah, it follows. Yeah, it's like come on, stop with the building. This movie did a great job of like building character, which I like, while also jumping kind of right into it. Very similar to when I compliment the first Saw movie, where
Mm.
it's like, you know, the movie wakes up and they're in the kind of issue, and then you learn about the characters as you go. This movie kind of does something similar where you only really have 15 minutes or so to get to know the family, set things up, and then we dive into the mystery. So I thought that the movie was very effective for all those reasons, which is good. Overall, like I thought The Woman in the Yard was definitely worth watching. Like I just thought it was interesting. It kept me captivated throughout the entire movie. I thought, you know, were there twists and turns? Not so much about that as much as reveals along the way, which I did think were interesting. And that's something that I think this movie does that sometimes movies can't do, where reveals happen. I'm like, oh, okay, it's this. This movie actually, like a couple of reveals were, you know, I might go as far to say is, oh, that was shocking. Like that was not what I was expecting to hear, not what I was expecting to learn. And I thought that was really well done and interesting. I thought there were a few things they could have done better with the woman in the yard. So one of the
Like
things
the
I don't,
actual creature.
the actual
Like,
creature thing, because
right.
one of the things that I think is really effective is where when you hide the monster as long as you can.
Right.
The minute you reveal the monster, even if it's just look of the monster, let alone like you still don't know what, but the look is revealed. I find some of the horror disappears. Like I do think it's been some of the issues with the Conjuring franchise, like all the spin-offs and the Conjuring movies in the last couple of movies that I've seen, the last say handful of the past like 5 years or so, has been revealing the monster too early. Like let us dip more into shadows and unknown and not really kind of seeing what we're seeing and not sure what we're seeing, and let our imagination run away with us a little bit more. I think this movie shows too much too early, where I think I want more mystery and I want my imagination to do the hard work of scaring me, which I think is easy to do if you just leave it as ambiguous as possible, which I think is a modern thing that has been kind of lost.
I guess I guess they kind of painted themselves into a corner when you literally call the movie the woman in the yard. But what my example of It Follows was that's to me that's a very effective. You see the creature almost immediately, and I felt like that movie maintains the fear level. Like my level of anxiety while watching
Yeah.
It Follows. But that's like a rare
Well,
example of
it's
it
do
working.
it if you're going to do it, you have to do it really effective, which they did, which not a lot of other movies do. But I'm thinking like movies like Signs, even Jaws, um, you know, even I would say
The
the
first
beginning,
Conjuring movie.
the first Conjuring movie, the beginning of like A Quiet Place, where you're still not, the monsters move so fast, you're still not exactly sure what you've seen. There's all this, I think, anxiety that builds as to what is it, like what is this thing,
I
and I
don't
think I wanted a little bit more of that.
it might have been Alfred Hitchcock, but it also might have been Steven Spielberg talking about Jaws. The human, they're quoted as saying, and I'm not getting the exact words, but essentially what you're alluding to, Mike, is that nothing you show on screen is ever going to be as scary as what the person imagined it to be.
Yeah,
So it's better
yeah,
to withhold the creature or only show
I
like
agree.
aspects of the creature until like the
Yeah,
very end.
yeah, I
But
totally agree with that. Yeah.
with this movie, it sounds like maybe they were going for psychological thriller and not horror, right? Like, hard to say.
Yeah, it's hard to say what the intention was. An effective movie. I would say that it's just kind of lost a few marks for me, kind of in the things that I brought up.
Do you
Um,
find out why she's in the yard?
oh yeah, yeah. The movie does a good job of wrapping things up. Like
Okay,
I would say the ending is strong,
got it.
and not disappointing, which sometimes you get. I do think it has a strong ending. I think it makes sense. I think again there are flaws that you can sit here and say, like you look back at horror movies that I feel like have perfect endings and kind of wrap everything up, and then you can look back at the movie and say, like, oh, here are the clues. I don't think it's that kind of movie. It doesn't do what, say, Sixth Sense does, or any of those movies that, like, you can go back and be like, oh, I now see all these clues that I didn't see before. I don't think this movie's that strong at that, but I enjoyed the ending. I thought it worked. My rating for this movie is a stream it. It's a positive stream it. It's just it doesn't elevate to see it because it didn't do any of these things that I'm pointing
Yeah,
out.
it's
Right,
one
that I'm
among
looking for.
many of what you can
Yeah,
watch this season.
precisely. Yeah. So I think for me, there are better examples of it. But for kicking off what will be my kind of horror movie season, I'm going to be watching a lot of horror movies. Also, it's like, I don't know, Taylor. It's like a not a guilty pleasure, just a pleasure. It's something that you work hard, life stresses you out. I want to watch a bunch of horror movies because I enjoy it.
I think
So
it's fair. It's
this,
escapism, but like
yeah,
not like in a
yeah.
negative sense. It's just
And this fit that bill. Like I do have to say, it fit the bill. It's not like it didn't. It just wasn't as scary as I wanted it to be, I guess is what I'm saying. So it's a stream it, but a positive stream it. I am saying if you watch it this October, I think you'll have a good time with it.
our movies actually have more in common than I thought they would, Mike.
Oh, really? Okay.
Aside from women and farm/ranch, but the idea of isolation, right? So the premise of the movie is that Miranda Cosgrove's character goes on a dating show, and so reality shows, there's this sense of isolation, right? Like
Mm-hmm,
they take away
mm-hmm.
the cell phones, like it's a self-contained, not nearly like to the drama of your movie, but that was just one little connection that
That's
I
cool.
saw.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's
the
cool that you
Miranda
can find a
yeah,
connection and
right, in
something
these
that clearly doesn't have.
random
Yeah.
random movies. And then Miranda Cosgrove is kind of like the polar opposite of the mom in your movie, like super
Mm.
capable, always looking after everyone, very like happy and upbeat and ready to take on challenges. So and similar to what you were describing, Mike, about how you work hard and you want to just be able to put on a movie and enjoy yourself, and
Hmm.
maybe in a certain extent not have to think too hard, because sometimes I feel that way with like a horror movie. Like I can just put on a horror movie and enjoy the experience. That was very much this kind of movie. I would say that it is pure escapism, maybe
Yeah.
to the what some people would consider negative, because you really don't need to use your brain when watching this movie, which to me, like, is fine. You don't always have to be watching like intellectually heavy lifting movies. Sometimes you just want to turn on a movie and enjoy yourself for an hour and a half. So as I explained at the beginning of the episode, it's a pretty traditional rom-com setup. You got two characters that are thrown into this kind of unrealistic circumstance. Will they or won't they? And then there's circumstances within the plot that cause tension and conflict, which then like again you're something major happens, are they gonna be able to make it work, right? So it's very boilerplate. I don't think it adds anything new to the genre, but very much like Lindsay Lohan, Miranda Cosgrove has just this easy likability to her. And I don't know if it's because they both grew up as child actors, Lindsay Lohan being affiliated with Disney, and Miranda Cosgrove was affiliated with the other network, Nickelodeon.
Oh, Nickelodeon.
So it's
Okay.
like a very, they're very polished performers because they've been acting since they were like, what, 9, 8.
Mhm.
And they give very good performances. And and again, opposite to your experience, Mike, she's very likable on screen. Just like the Christmas Lindsay Lohan movies I reviewed in the
Mhm.
last couple of years, it's a pleasure to watch these women on camera doing their
Mhm.
thing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
They don't, even though these movies are a little bit like maybe B movies or to direct to streaming movies, they don't phone it in. They look like they're having a good time. They're good, giving good performances. They have a lot of charisma, and there was a lot of really good chemistry between her and the male romantic lead. I'm not familiar with him. His name is Pearson Fode, who
No,
apparently is
doesn't
an
ring a bell.
actor, internet personality, and model. So,
Okay.
because that's the world we live in right now, that you can be an internet personality and be in movies. But it looks like he has a Disney connection too. So, and he also had this very smooth, easy, likable charisma. And I think it might, the Disney factor for him might not be the reason, but I just, these young people who kind of grew up in the machine, so to speak, for better or for worse, because we know a lot of horrible things happen behind the scenes, but um, they have a to me they have a very good presence, I guess is what I'm trying to say, like a very professional, good, polished presence, but an easy likability to it. So I thought this movie was quite enjoyable. I thought it was charming. It didn't take itself too seriously. It knew what lane it was in and it stuck to that lane. And that's fine. One thing that I'm going to critique, and this isn't specific to this movie, I think it's streaming. Like it's because I've noticed this with Amazon movies and with Netflix movies, and I'm not going to do a good job of explaining this, and I might be the only person who feels this way. It looks too good, Mike.
Okay.
Like the like when they first introduced high definition TVs, and I didn't like watching HD because I'm like, it looks like I'm just looking at real life. I don't
Right.
want to watch HD. So like these movies on Netflix and on Amazon, I don't know, it must be the way they're shot, or the digital it's not film, but filming to digital. It's like everything has like an Instagram filter, making
Mm.
things like, it looks like, it doesn't look the way HD looks, but it just looks like almost overly polished or like overly saturated. I don't know, like again, it's like such a weird, I can't quite place my finger on it, but
I do know what you mean, though. I
yeah,
have
they
seen that
all look the
and thought
same.
similar. Yeah, they
They
just they have the same look. There's no real change in the aesthetics from movie to movie. I agree.
Yeah, it's like the direct to streaming cinematography. And it's funny because it doesn't look bad. It looks like they've put a lot of money and a lot of it looks like they've spent a lot of money on production value. But the cinematography and the way they're shooting it and like the color saturation they're using, these movies all look the same. And so that's my major critique, is that I feel like very different to Key Largo and Chinatown, which we reviewed a couple weeks ago, Mike, which those
Hmm.
movies, because of the virtue of filming on film and like
Hmm.
budgeting and constraints, like you had to get creative, and like, movies looked differently and they were shot differently because of the
Yeah.
time. Like, I just feel like I don't know if it's like a laziness or an aesthetic choice or what, but I don't love how to direct how direct to streaming movies look.
Yeah, well, it must be a budget thing and also just an ease, right? Like they just want to get these movies out there fast, right?
Yeah.
So they film like so many of them in a row, get them out of here. Like let's just
get
these in the can and go.
The Thursday Movie Club felt the same way. Like even though the setting is different, like the setting's different each time, but like again, the cinematography, the lighting, I don't know, everything just is like too perfect, too polished. But anyways, all that to say, this to me is a light stream it because of the type of genre it is. It's not a movie by any means that you have to run out and go see, but it's a really good movie to put on a Saturday afternoon with your girlfriends, with your mom, whatever. You're just looking to kill an hour and a half. Very breezy, very comfy, pop some popcorn and have a good time. So for me, it's a stream it.
Yeah, and I would argue, like you've said before, sometimes that's what people want and need, right?
Yeah.
That's what they're looking for. One quick question before we wrap up, and I'm just kind of curious because I think I've spoken about different kinds of movies and like what I want to see out of them, that kind of thing. And I'm just curious to get your thoughts on when you sit down to watch this kind of movie, what it is that you just want to see to get out of it. Like what if you had to pinpoint one or two things of like these kinds of movies where it's easy watching, something you can like watch with your friends as a matinee kind of thing. If you had to name like 3 or 4 things that the movie has to have to say like, this is perfect, this is exactly what I wanted,
rom-com,
what would those be?
Like rom-com specific or just in general?
I would say like, yeah, rom-com specific, like even the Lindsay Lohan movies, like when you sit down to watch them, you're like, oh, if it has these things, I'm totally.
I think it has to have a really charismatic lead who isn't taking herself too seriously. Like, the fact that even though it's a direct to streaming, like I described with Lindsay Lohan and Miranda, that they are still giving very good performances. Like, like they're not phoning it in. So that very good charismatic lead, and to have very good chemistry with the male lead. He doesn't have to be acting necessarily at the same level that she is, because really he's secondary in the plot. The main thrust of the movie is about the female lead. Right. But I want them to have very good chemistry, and I do like it when he's like a little bit of comedic relief. And then it has to have a happy ending, because if it's like an easy breezy afternoon. And I do want it to have humor, but not AI humor, because I feel like so many scripts now, just even though they fought this union battle, and one of the things was they're like, we're not going to have AI write our scripts. Mike, so many scripts do feel like AI has written them. Like they've just kind of like thrown things into a blender and like pressed on and then like spit out scripts.
Right.
So real human humor, charismatic lead, and good chemistry. That's what and a happy ending. That's what I'm looking for.
That's all you want. Perfect. There you go. I mean, I think it makes total sense. I'm so shocked that we found similarities between these films, but that's really great. Really great to see. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. I will just do that quick reminder that, yes, you can send in your fan questions, soul1arts.ca. Go to the podcast tab. You can send them in just like Tyler and Caitlin did for now. And we'll be back next week with another great episode.
Go see some movies.
Thank you for listening to You Had Me at Skip It, a Soul One Arts Inc. podcast. This podcast is produced by Mike Shepard and Austin Spinner Summer. It is a project of Soul One Arts Inc. To learn more about Soul One and all the great work that Soul One is doing in the arts community, especially in film, theater, and other performing arts, visit soul1arts.ca. You can contribute to this podcast by visiting soul1arts.ca and going to the podcast tab. You'll find all the information on You Have Me at Skip It and how you can get your questions read on air each week. Thank you again for listening.